Christopher Marlowe. Life. Christopher Marlowe was born in Canterbury in 1564, 2 months before William Shakespeare. He studied at the University of Cambridge, where he took his BA in 1584. In 1587, he moved to London, where he rapidly established himself as the most important playwright of the period. Evidence shows that he led a dissolute wild life. He was often involved in duels and was imprisoned at least twice, accused of murder and atheism. He lived in an age of Catholic versus Protestant political intrigue, and according to some documents, he was a very important secret agent of the Queen. He was fascinated by extremes like excessive ambition, unlimited desire, and a restless willingness to overcome human limits. Such are the passions that drive Faustus, the protagonist of his masterpiece, to sell his soul to Lucifer in exchange for knowledge and power. The truth behind Marlowe's sudden death in a London tavern in 1593 still remains suspicious and unresolved. Works. Despite his short, turbulent life, Marlowe wrote significant dramatic masterpieces. Tamburlaine the Great, Dr. Faustus, the Jew of Malta, and Edward II. His plays were the first to embody the true spirit of the Renaissance, concentrating on man as opposite to God. The most important themes of these works are the lust for power, the desire to break free from the restrictions of the Church, the limitations of knowledge, and the demands of ruthless ambition in the face of the prevailing morality. Marlowe's works also represent a departure from the didactic spirit of the medieval morality plays. These used invented plots and had characters personifying human vices and virtues and endowed with the features of the time. Marlowe's characters no longer personify virtues or vices, but are instead enriched by man's passions and faults. Two of his plays, however, are very directly concerned with God, and these are Marlowe's most famous dramatic works. Also, perhaps, his finest and most important. They are Tamburlaine and Dr. Faustus. Both are the works of an Elizabethan atheist who not necessarily denied the existence of God but rejected churches and orthodox beliefs. Dr. Faustus. Though Dr. Faustus is regarded as a morality play, it is different from the medieval Everyman, the most popular morality play, where death is a character, God is rigid and vindictive, and the only life possible to reach eternal salvation is the one leading to death. Faustus does not believe in predestination and in life after death. According to him, theology and philosophy, that is, medieval and Renaissance thought, are too restrictive. Faustus views his pact with Mephistopheles as the only means to fulfill his ambitions. Faustus reflects the ambition and the restlessness of the Renaissance man, who is still linked to medieval culture, but wants to be the maker of his own destiny. He is related both to Prometheus' myth of eternal dissatisfaction and Icarus' myth of the overreacher, a man of great culture and ambition who is dissatisfied with his own situation and thus tries to increase his powers. In the first act, Dr. Faustus is presented as an acclaimed and respected scholar. So much he profits in divinity that shortly he was graced with doctor's name. However, that wasn't enough for Faustus, who wanted to govern nature and death through the power of necromancy. He challenged God and made a pact with Lucifer, selling his soul for 24 years of service from Mephistopheles. His punishment was to spend the rest of eternity in hell. The moral of this play is that ambition and dissatisfaction with what God has given man is a terrible sin that can only lead to damnation. Faustus acquires the power he wanted, but at the end he can't use it to save himself from hell. Marlowe's use of the soliloquy in this play is notable. It is a way of showing both sides of Faustus' character. This is not to say that Marlowe reached Shakespeare's perfection, but he certainly marked a transition from medieval drama. He improved the dramatic possibilities of blank verse, unrhymed iambic pentameter, and was able to give life to his words. There is great energy and life in his use of color and description. Faustus is swollen with cunning and self-conceit. His waxen wings did mount above his reach. From the prologue.